Thanks for staying with your view. As promised, we start our discussion on gender-based violence and also looking at the shutdown that was today. But before we get into that, we do have a question that we are asking you on social media. And if you want to be part of that, you can link us up on social media, or also send us a WhatsApp and we can call you back. And we're asking you, what do you make of the shutdown that was called by the ANC Women's League today, that stay away from work? Of course, some of you already starting to talk on social media saying that there's always these marches and they don't yield any result. But tonight we've got Toko Xasa, who is with the ANC Women's League. Mama, thank you for talking to us this evening. Let's just reflect on the day today. Did you, as the ANC Women's League, achieve the objective that you had set out to achieve today?
Thank you very much, and thank you for hosting me. Indeed, I would say, we had such a positive response from women, because responses, stem from women speaking through their modes of communication, women mobilizing, because we made it very clear this time that we are not looking at having convergence points, but we want women to mobilize wherever they are, because you get women in rural areas, you get women who cannot have means to transport themselves to a particular spot. But whether you are working or you are among some women, that you can be able to begin to have this conversation, but at the same time, because you don't have a brush to give solutions to everybody, because situations are different. But women, when we understand what is happening, creating kind of a movement that begins to make women's voices heard, information flowing that begins to tell us, because some of the solutions lie with the women there, the wisdom with the women. So indeed, there have been those kinds of gatherings. Others marched to police stations to say, police, where are the cases that have disappeared in your... where now women found themselves to be able to also get to understand further and also find ways to support those women to come up and feel the support to reopen such cases.
And Mam Xasa, how then do we, it's all good and well to say that as police, we have to revisit the cases that have almost like been cold cases, if you say, but our police stations are not adequate enough to deal with some of these cases. We've seen where victims are coming out to say that there's not even a private room where they are taken to be able to relay some of what happened, and they have to relay it at a charge office, for example, in front of everybody else. What then do we do? Because opening the case is not enough, reopening it is not enough, but we also need to skill some of those that have to hear from these women.
With the call on the stay away, it emanated from, first and foremost, from a decision that we took. We had a session, and this session was not only with members of the ANC Women's League, but we felt with all the campaigns and activities that women have embarked upon, be it CPOs, your faith-based organizations, your traditional leadership, women in various spaces. We wanted to bring that together to say, let us be this one voice, so that we're able to really look at it. So we even therefore had to come up to say, what is it that we think can be done? Because here, government knows, and we have been saying there are gaps in the legislation. Yes, there's progress, the fact that there is this legislation, but all of us understand there are gaps in the organs of states that also have to deal with these matters. There are gaps. So now it was that voice that's beginning to say, okay, if you have this backlog, you have the statistics of how many have been reported, but you are not telling us what is the resolution, how then are you going to resource it? So we are punting now demands on the state with timeline. Because as you may have heard the last time the president was addressing women in parliament in Cape Town, you could not get the actual deadlines as to when will that happen. But we could, follow on what he's saying because it was part of the demands that were made by women and the various stakeholders who are subjected to this kind of violence and killings of women and children.
And do some of these demands include the adequate number of rape kits? Because we saw in Parliament recently on the 6th of August, the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Women, Youth and Persons with Disability, Ms. Nontanta Ncubendaba, she released a statement saying that the shortage of rape kits in police stations will have a profoundly negative impact on solving rape cases and hence, rape survivors, and saying that the shortage of rape kits at police stations will hamper the police ability to solve rape crimes, which inadvertently leads to the justice system failing rape survivors. Was that one of the calls to make sure that there's enough rape kits in order for the scourge at least to be brought down when it comes to that particular issue of rape?
As part of the demands, we even have started to say, first and foremost, the cluster itself, the justice cluster. Because if you talk police, you're not talking the other arms, because they are not integrated. They are working in silos. And now, when you look into how they function, others would say we are not resourced to do this. There's training, there's the side of the court, So we said that cluster needs to come and account to women to say, what have we done? Because even when we say we have the courts that are dealing with men, they are not resourced. The training is not there. Because, circumstances around these incidents, they are changing every time. The perpetrators have also learned to find a way to duck the whole system, because they also know South Africa is a democratic country. People know their rights. They understand what the law says. So now they are also, taking advantage, and you find that the law in South Africa favors more the perpetrator than the actual victim. It is the victim that must explain herself. What were you wearing? Where were you? And why were you there? And in that situation, nobody thinks about the trauma, what this person has gone through. So in the whole, we're saying, besides that account, we also want to understand on what the president has directed that it be done to respond to this scourge. What is it? What are their actions? And what are the timelines? But at the same time, we further are saying, it is not just enough that we can think about actions or, quick actions will be taken. We need authority from the top where the president declares a state of emergency. And we are very clear about state of emergency. We're not talking, for instance, the curfew that we would have heard of where girls cannot walk or whoever cannot walk. No. Emergency in terms of what needs to be done. Resourcing of what has to happen, the courts themselves. You have situation where in campuses, in institutions, you find that, it's like, a country within a country. When you have these institutions, they would tell you they are independent, and they would have policies that are not talking to the policies, the laws of the nation. For instance, at one point, we had to go to Rhodes University in the Eastern Cape. And there, when it came to cases where young people, as we were going rounds launching the Young Women's Desk, young women were sharing with us to say the policy of the university is such that they cannot go to police station to report a rape or whatever abuse by men within the campus, because they are barred to say you cannot report outside before you report to the institution, whether it's a lecturer, whether it's one of the students, and most of the cases, it gone nowhere.
And Mampas, I'm going to ask us to hold it there for now. We have to go for a quick ad break, but I do want us to probe this issue of policy further. We are in conversation with the spokesperson of the ANC Women's League, Toko Xasa. Remember, you can join this conversation on social media. On Twitter, we are asking you the question, what is your view on the ANC Women's League? Stay away. And also, you can send us a WhatsApp if you would like us to call you back. We continue this conversation after the break.